What's going on, everybody? We are back with another TM Tuesday Night Spotlight.
Oh, God, I had to mute that.
What? What'd you miss?
I I have the stream
Oh,
up on one of my sides here, but I forgot to mute the tab, so I heard you twice and hearing you once.
all good. Well, like we said, well, see, it's already a shit show, Crowded, as we already said. We are back with the Tuesday night with tonight's guest, Crowded, and this is our first episode that we are actually broadcasting on Twitter, and it seems to be working. It's there. I don't know if it's... Yeah, it looks like it's working. So how cool is that? We're live on Twitter.
Pretty interesting.
We're live on Twitter for twos of people. So this is going to be... I think this is going to be our last episode until after the new year. I think...
Probably.
with Christmas next week, and then we got New Year's the week after. I think it's going to be after the New Year. So we got Crowded closing out 2021 in toxic form.
Meanwhile, my brain's already
Bring this shit to
2022.
close the shittiest year.
The shittiest?
So-
Wasn't that supposed to be 2020?
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
I
2020.
don't think the shit let up.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
2021 didn't really prove to be a better year. I mean,
No, not at all.
Yeah.
so in the words of Bill Belichick, we're on to 2022. So oh my gosh, it's already
We're less than 2
It's
minutes in, and he's quoted
it's-
Belichick
yeah,
already.
yeah, it's already gone.
It's already fucking awful.
Yeah. So, Crowded first, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know Crowded, which I don't know how you don't know Crowded, anybody in the community knows Crowded.
Very easy to not know me.
But we, Be Nice and I met Crowded through the Dragon's Lair. It's a great community. And Crowded, I think when I first met you, you had Crowded, and then you switched to the Toxic King, and then you went back to Crowded.
Toxic King.
Correct.
I remember that screen name too.
So,
hmm
I vaguely remember that one.
why the Toxic King?
I was known for being toxic to everybody, so I just kind of ran with it for a little while.
So, wow, so toxic. Hi, Lucas. All right, so the TM Tuesday Spotlight is streaming is taking care of, not taking care of, highlighting streamers in the community. So, toxic, Crowded. Tell us about you, why you stream,
What's up, Pepsi Man?
and where you want your streaming career to go.
That's kind of undecided. It'll go wherever it does go. Been streaming for about 3.5, 4 years, and primarily playing shooters. Main game focus has been Escape from Tarkov for about the last 2 years. And yeah, I just enjoy it. It's an easy way to record your gameplay. But it's also a fun time. Has its ups and its downs, obviously, and but I definitely enjoy it. The Tarkov streaming community in particular is a great community to be a part of. Um, it has its toxic individuals, obviously, but definitely a good community and as far as streaming and the game goes overall. So that makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, so I loved watching Tarkov. So I think you streamed the wipe on Sunday. I think the Sunday was the wipe, and I think you streamed for like 10 hours,
10.5, 11 hours.
and I think I was in there for 9 of those hours,
Yeah.
in and out, obviously.
Except for that part where you fell asleep.
Yeah, except for I fell asleep. I do that. I do that.
That's every day.
I do that. But I enjoy watching Tarkov a lot. The one thing I like about Tarkov is that every time you spawn in, it's never the same. It may be the same map and the same spawns, but it's never the same. And
Yeah, anything can happen at any time, really, and I mean, you could be killed within the first 60 seconds.
By a Mosin man.
But it's about anything. We spawned, and within about, I think, 2 minutes, Pi had blue screened out yesterday in a raid, and me and Rose ran out, and there's a building with turrets on it, and a scav AI player got on the turret and killed us both.
Jesus.
Immediately. So anything can happen. The AI is difficult. The players can be difficult. Right now the players aren't as difficult as the AI in most cases, but definitely a fun game, good fun grind. It has its ups and its downs. Like, it's a game you really have to step away from if you start having too much of a bad time.
Yeah, and the other thing when you say about the community, I know you say there's a lot of toxic, but it seems like that community for some reason, which is a good thing, always rally around the Tarkov streamers, I guess. So I know, we were talking about it before we started. We were talking about a streamer. His name is Ash, right?
Yep.
Um, but there's another streamer that I was in a community with, and I believe you know him. Um, and his name is Gino. You know
Oh
Gino?
yeah, Gino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Gino.
So Gino was in a organ, or not an organ, he still is an Emerald, with Instigator, and a few others. But he's a young kid. He's in his I think he's in his early 20s. Actually, I don't even know if he's 21. But that kid streamed Tarkov, and he streamed Tarkov, and he grew his community, and he made partner like this year.
Yeah, he did, and he's actually an ex-pro Counter Strike player as well. I don't know if you knew that
I
about
didn't.
Gino.
I did not know that about Gino.
Yeah, he's got some chops. So,
What if a fucking god
but
being a pro in that game?
Yeah, and he's a
definitely,
good kid, and he's a really good kid. You know.
yeah, seems like a nice dude. I haven't watched a whole lot of his streams, but I do know him from the community and from people telling him that he looks like he's 12. With love.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's there's a lot of good fun streamers in the community, not just the guys that have thousands of viewers, like Pestily and Landmark, etc. Um, I mean, I've been watching some Tarkov streamers for as long as I can remember. Deadly Slob, Clean, Cotton, before when he still streamed it. Um, so there's been quite a few decent sized Tarkov streamers, but obviously things have really taken off for the game over the last 2 years.
Yeah. Now the first time I saw Tarkov was, um, and Brendan knows who this person is, or be nice, I should say. He used to go. He doesn't stream anymore. He used to go by I Race a Quad, and
Yep.
he played Tarkov
So much.
so much, but the game was so bad. I mean, so bad.
I'd say the game was necessarily bad back when I started, which was like 3.5, 4 years ago. It had only been out, like, I only missed like the alpha and then like the first 6 months of the beta is all that I haven't played, and it's a different game now.
Oh, it is
Um,
completely different, 100%.
the gunplay was always fun. The modding has all like gotten more and more like advanced, but definitely fun, and it's angled more towards the hardcore survival side, especially with this wipe that just hit and a lot of the features they added, and that's something that they kind of got away from with the last wipe for the last like 6 to 9 months. So it was nice to have that change.
Do you think that the Tarkov got real popular because of like Dr. Lupo stuff? The big streamers at the time playing it, like the Lupos and the.
Oh yeah, I mean Shroud checking it out. I think Doctor Disrespect played it a little bit. Lupo. I mean, those guys obviously bring attention to the game to people that otherwise wouldn't see it. But the, I mean, when it comes down to it, they're gonna like even right now. Summit is playing. He actually puts a lot of time into the game when wipe happens. Um, yeah, I mean, it's always good when that happens because then it draws more attention to the medium-sized streamers and
Mm,
then in turn the small streamers. So it's a
doing the
trickle down effect where us little guys don't feel as much of the trickle, but
Right.
I'll say
Yeah.
yeah, when the big boys aren't playing, there's technically more room.
uh, yeah, but that more room, you got to think about it. If the big boys aren't playing, that doesn't mean they maybe lose what at
Oh
worst
no,
20% of their viewers.
they don't lose that
Like,
many
yeah,
comparatively.
so there's really not. They have nothing to do with it. Like they only help popularity with the game. So, but right now, I mean, I think Summit's probably first on Twitch right now, 25K.
Wow. I mean, I enjoy Summit. I enjoy Summit. Summit seems no matter what he streams, he always pulls in that community. I mean, he was Sea of Thieves for the longest time, but he does all types of. His community just follows him. Like Shroud, they just follow him. But like you said, you're maining Tarkov, but you're also a big HOTS Heroes of the Storm guy too,
Yeah, I
right?
generally just stream HOTS for fun. I don't take it as seriously anymore because ranked is kind of always a shit show when you play. But still a fun game. I've always enjoyed that, and just something I usually play to chill out a little more.
Playing a MOBA to chill, not something I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
What's that?
I said playing a MOBA to chill, not something I've ever heard of. It
No,
usually does
well,
the opposite for me.
yeah,
it's not LOL.
right. Well, that's just it too.
That's also true.
But you also play a variety of games. I mean, I've seen you play.
Oh yeah, I mean I'll stream co-op horror games. I play obviously a lot of other shooters. Occasionally a single player game, but yeah, no, I play all different types of games, and I just tend to get drawn more towards shooters. And like the reason I like Tarkov 2 is because it's not just a in and out multiplayer PvP game.
Right.
It's got more to it. It's more involved. Map knowledge is huge. You got to know what you're doing, what ammo to use. Like, there's a lot more to it. So it's not just a brain dead
No.
COD where I have to deal with 13-year-olds all over the place.
No.
Well,
100%.
maybe I'll find out more people are 13 now. They just added VoIP, so
Oh yeah.
I've
Exactly.
already heard a couple of them screaming as I shoot them. So
Do you think that's gonna? What do you think that will do for the game? You think that will be better for the game?
I think I've already had a couple interesting interactions. One was a team up, and then another one was like kind of a friendly don't fire at each other so we could check out a new building on the new map,
Mm,
and then I got shot anyway.
shot on
So
the back. He shot you on the back.
it wasn't in the back. I was actually chasing after a scav or a player, so I was trying to kill something outside afterwards, and got shot by one of the guys that were still
Okay.
inside the place I was in. So he came in the stream and apologized, so I let
Oh,
it slide.
that's
Um, because he thought I was AI, but it's definitely fun. I've already seen a lot of funny interactions, and I haven't called out as much to people. We'll see how that goes and see what kind of mood I'm in. But one thing that they did do that I was worried about for streaming was they gave you the ability to set a key to immediately terminate VoIP and disable it
Okay.
at any time. So I set a key right below my push to talk. So if
that's good.
somebody starts getting out of line on stream, etc., boom, done.
Just done. Yeah. Get
And
rid of
then
it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I can also leave it off and just turn it on when I want to use it, stuff like
Mm,
that. So
yeah.
very quick without having to go into a menu.
I
So.
played Tarkov a little bit, but it wasn't my type of game, and they didn't have VoIP then, obviously.
Well, they've had VoIP for 3
That's what I
days.
mean.
So, I mean, that's something that's been in the works for a long time, but the VoIP really doesn't make the game in my opinion. I've never needed it up to now, and it's not gonna keep me playing longer or what have you going forward. So, just a nice feature to have.
Yeah. See, with me, I would be. I'd be that division rat that would be
Oh my god.
friendly, and then I would shoot you.
If assuming you could hit him.
That's true.
Do they have aim assist on that?
No,
I might have a problem
not one bit.
then. Oh
They
god.
actually just nerfed recoil. They've done a lot for the game though, and it's gonna be a fun wipe, and I'm already having a good time with it, and we'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm happy to see the game, and it's interesting. I'm happy to see the game take off, and it's interesting to see the game grow and what they're doing to it. They're still in like what they call beta mode, right? So they can do whatever they want, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be interesting. Plus, the graphics just seem like they get better and better and better. I mean, they're only going to get so far, but sometimes when you're playing, I can't even see what you're shooting at. Can't see.
Sometimes we can hardly see what we're shooting at, so it's might look like a black stick figure. They're so far out. So, but you kind of know, and you can tell like through movement and things like that using the silhouettes and the lighting and everything from a distance if you don't have a scope. So I mean, it really depends on the situation, and as you progress through the game, you'll knock more items, more scopes, things like that. All that kind of stuff becomes a lot easier to deal with.
As I say, isn't the game made by like uh made by at least some like former military personnel and stuff, so they kind of like
They definitely
really
have full-time military advisors, and then the guns they make are actually like licensed. So
mm,
all the gun parts, I mean, like
because it
so
was pretty crazy to like even see the basic gunsmith thing.
yeah, so like what's a good example? Like they have a couple custom weapons in the game from manufacturers. Like they have what is it called? The Lone Star, which is it's called like the TX-10, which is a modified M4 variant assault rifle.
Mm.
That's made by a manufacturer. It's a
So they
like
go like
basically
that
a
in
single
depth.
shot
Yeah.
so semi-auto, but I mean they've got actual Glocks like modeled down to a T,
Mm.
a bazillion AK variants. They actually have a new Ultima shotgun that is made by Kalashnikov, and they're actually being sued for it by a video game company because they say they stole the design for their gun
Okay.
and they made the shotgun. Um, like Google Ultima
Funny.
shotgun.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna Google that later. But I was even just saying like in the movement and how things work, like that's very like movement silhouettes, like that's all things that you would need in a more realistic style game. And every time I've watched Tarkov, I'd like to think I'm pretty decent at shooters. Half the time I can't tell where anyone is because it's just so different from what I'm used to playing.
Oh yeah, and I, it's very sound heavy. It's very reliant on visuals as well. And like you said, the gun control, every single gun is
Oh,
different.
it's
Every
yeah,
single build of the gun is different. Like you take a base gun and you take a fully modded gun the way you like it, they're gonna shoot completely different.
right, which is just crazy. Which part of me really wishes I liked the game because I would just love to mess around with that, but it's just not my type of game.
I'm actually surprised you don't play it.
It's not my type of game.
Just I never knew.
I've heard him rage at the shitlords. He may not want to play it.
Flashback to me, Rose, and Crowddead playing Apex with 2 doors closed and a wall between us, and they heard "Be Nice" go. Check out my badges, you shitloads. Crowded goes,
It was a good time.
did he just call them shitlords? And I'm like, you heard that?
That fucking guy. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so here's a question. This is a question that always gets me, and I've seen some hilarious videos on on YouTube
On the interwebs.
on the interwebs on YouTube. How do you know? Like I know you hear people calling out and stuff. But how do you know who? Like, if you're with a team of people, how do you know who your players are? Like, how do you know your team?
Are you asking how I personally know, or how
Yes.
in general you know?
Well,
Personally,
first you, and then in general.
I pay attention to what my teammates are wearing when we get into raid. How they're geared, like what backpack they have, if they're wearing a helmet, etc. And then I also pay as much attention to their last known position.
Okay.
Um, the parts that will obviously, if you lose sight of somebody, you have to call out where you're at. New maps
Mm.
are dangerous for that. You saw some of that this weekend.
I did.
If you don't communicate, I'm gonna shoot you.
Poor pie.
Yeah, he didn't communicate appropriately, and that was a TK. But I gave him, like, you saw, like, I had plenty of time.
Yes.
Like, he
Yeah.
had plenty of time to answer me. I hesitated incredibly. Normally, if I'm on a map I know, it's a lot easier to know where people are. Um, that can't be said for everybody. Sometimes people get startled. Sometimes people lose track of where you are. Sometimes communication doesn't happen, and I'm just as bad at not communicating at times either. It's just like when you push an apex by yourself and you don't tell your team, or you rotate an apex and don't tell your team. If you do that in Tarkov, you're more than likely going to get shot by your team.
Yeah.
Um,
I know from playing just the bare minimum with Burger in Wigs that like the communication you need to tell someone where you are is absolutely absurd. And
it
since I didn't know the maps, Burger is always like, "Yo, he's right here. He doesn't know where he is, but I."
yeah, I've been there as well. But I mean, the big thing is the map knowledge. Once you
Yeah.
have the call outs, and I've played with enough new players, like, over my time, that I'm constantly working on, like, communicating
Mm.
those kinds of things. So, like, when I play with, like, my normal group I play with is Pi, Rose, and Lauren. The last couple of wipes, um, we have set names for things on certain maps. So if it doesn't have an obvious, like a store name in the mall, etc., we come up with our own names for them. We discuss what we like for that, what works best, and that's what we base our call outs on.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the pie. B-Days is so funny. He was
It's
playing
okay.
with.
He's TK'd us more than
He's
we've
playing with
TK'd
him.
him.
I
So
said I said something as Pi didn't communicate, and then
No, it
Crowddead
was
just capped
so
him.
Crowder was standing outside of a fenced area, and
Mm.
there were two players running, and they were both. Lauren was the other player, and they were saying they were calling out another player or a scav. I'm not sure. And
they were calling out a player, at least one,
yeah,
and I'm looking at two inside a fenced-in area, and I ask, "Are you guys inside the fence?" No answer. "Are you guys inside the fence?" I hear Lauren say, "I'm not inside the fence." Nobody else spoke, so I shot,
he shot. It all.
and it was Pi.
All you hear is Pie go. He shot me. Crowder goes. No, that was me. uh, I'm
We
sorry.
ended up killing the guy.
Yeah, sorry, Pie, but that
Found him
was.
outside hiding in the bushes. But
Little Bush Wookie.
yep, I think he got scared at the sound of,
Yeah,
like, my M4 annihilating Pi.
yeah. It's one tapped.
Oh, it was not a one tap. I took multiple
Yeah,
shots. Like,
it was pretty funny though.
the recoil is awful right now.
Uh,
But yeah, things like that happen. Pi's killed us plenty of times. So, like, everybody in the group has killed everybody in the group at one point or another. It happens a lot less the more you play together, but there's always a chance that that happens. Even if it's just not even miscommunication. Like, if you guys are just fighting the same fight and somebody leans in front of the other one without realizing where they are,
Oh yeah.
you get popped in the back of the head, you're
So you
toast.
mean like me and my friends that always strafe in front of each other in Apex, but thank God there's no friendly fire. I'd have way more deaths than I did.
oh, if there was friendly fire in that game, so many. Oh yeah.
Well, me and Loban, every time I'm strafing at someone we're pushing, they're just like, "Your fat ass ate all my fucking bullets." I'm like, "Sorry."
Yeah,
Uh,
and I mean, and that's how it kind of goes with any game these days. Like, you gotta communicate, and that's something that
Oh yeah.
it really comes down game to game. But, like, obviously, like, call outs in Apex, that's
Hmm.
just as important as in Tarkov. There's
yeah.
really not much of a difference when it comes down to the basic principles of it. Like, you know where your team's at, you guys can move better, survive better, be more aware of your surroundings that way. And the big thing too is once you get good enough with it, you can start maneuvering separately as a group, and that's when you really start to dominate fights, in my opinion, and especially in Tarkov. Like being able to flank a situation and have gunfire coming from two sides, things
Hmm.
of that nature. Having that kind of
All the time.
strategy in play is important.
That's how I do it on Apex. Like, I will gladly be the one that's the sheepdog herding them from the side, or
I'll
being the
take
one to
attention
capitalize on
to, and
opportunity. I don't care. Yeah.
some people like to point out that I tend to die first a lot.
Really? Would that person
but
be in the chat? Maybe.
but potentially, I mean, multiple people say it that I die a lot. But sometimes with it, you know, me going out there and pushing first, whether I get the kill or not, it can set the team up to finish the kill at the very least. Um, and that's something that a lot of other games isn't as forgiving with. Like, since you can one tap somebody, if we don't know where
Hmm.
somebody is and I run out, weaken them, they finish them, I'm okay with that situation. I'll take that death any day. Will I be upset that I lost the gunfight? Absolutely. But will I be upset that I died, like, on a base level? No. And that's something that it takes a while to learn with that game. And there's also a level of what we call gear fear, because you
Oh
do
yeah.
not want to lose your stuff. Once you get rid of that gear fear, it's a whole new game. Like, you don't, like, you can go in with the best stuff, you lose it, be a little pissed, but you gear up and go back. That's it.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's gear fair. That's a great term. I would be pissed. I would be pissed.
Well, and I mean, it can apply to a game like Apex, but just not as severe. Like, somebody gets a whatchamacallit. What's the big sniper? Why am I blanking right
Reaper.
now?
Craver.
Yeah, the Kraber. Somebody gets a Kraber and they're like, "Oh, I want to save my ammo. I want to save my ammo. I want to save my ammo." And then they never use it and they die with it.
Hmm.
Like, those kind of situations apply to other games as well, but in Tarkov it's just a little more severe. But it's always something like, if you got it, use it. Don't hold back. And I mean, that's something that I think a lot of people tend to hold back. I'm seeing in the chat right now. I am not known for that. That's what the team thinks.
That's why I was laughing because I was typing away. Oh god.
But you can have a lot of funny moments with that kind of stuff too, and just like goofy stuff in the game. And like, one thing we like is when we shoot sniper scavs from high points and we hear them like yell and then they just ragdoll fall like 30 feet. So that kind of stuff is entertaining. But like I said, like, the other big thing too is there's always something to do. And it's probably scarier than most horror games as well, with how often you get jump scared in the
I'm
game.
gonna tell you, I have a lot of anxiety just watching people play Tarkov.
Imagine playing it,
Yeah.
especially like when stuff's around the corner, like, or being pinched in between a couple players and a scav boss. Like, that ain't a good time.
One or two times I played that game solo to show my buddy Tarkov on a Discord stream, but like I barely had anything because I didn't play the game that much. The amount of anxiety I felt playing that fucking game solo was worse than any game I've played in my life. It was absurd.
There's another
Yeah.
streamer that we both know. He's actually in the community in the lair. Is Velion, who just got partnered a couple, 3, 4 months ago.
Yeah, a few months ago.
He's a hell of
Yeah,
a
he's a
Tarkov
grinder.
streamer.
Yeah, he's a grinder. He eats cupcakes, whole cupcakes with the wrapper on. Um, that's not a joke; it's a fact.
You serious?
Yep, he thinks they're edible.
But
Every time I hear Velian, that's I mean, I've been watching Velian for a while. I know some others have known him since Streamer Royale or whatever it was called.
yeah,
I didn't meet him until after that, but he's definitely come a long way over the last year, and
Good old Royale.
And yeah, right. And there's like there was another Tarkov streamer that got partnered just within the last couple days. Like, there's literally been one Tarkov streamer a week, I feel like, that's gotten partnered for like the last 3 months. All just grinded up their numbers. Like, that's really what it came down to. And obviously, like, once you get good enough at the game, build enough of a community, get into the tournaments, like, so there is like extra money that can be on the line. They're working on it. Tournaments are getting better and better with their formatting and everything like that. And Battle State has given a couple organizations private servers a few times, so that's always helpful as well.
Now, how would a tournament work for something like that? Just like
There's a few different ways. One of the ones they did recently was kill confirmed. So
okay.
get player kills. You got to get out with the dog tags for them to count.
Okay.
So that one's pretty straightforward. There's also been bingo tournaments, like kill this scav boss, get a 100-meter kill, find this item, find that item, get a kill here, stuff like that. That was actually the first couple Twitch Rivals tournaments were built that way. They also, I think they recently did another one where there is going to be one called Gun Game, and they have to get kills with certain weapons on each map. Few different things along those lines, but they seem to get better and better over time.
It's just interesting how they would do it, but yeah, I guess it's
I know that's definitely the question that was asked initially, is like, how are they going to do a Tarkov tournament? But the first couple were pretty rough, and they learned from that. And there's been a couple organizations like Evasion, as well as I don't know what the organization is that does it, but there's a tournament series called The Hunt, and they do Tarkov tournaments. And a couple streamers just put on their own tournaments too, like Pestilence Punisher tournaments.
okay.
So that is, I mean, that was kind of the first big tournaments, because you didn't have to be a big popular name to get into that one when it first started. Made a name from Landmark, who is like grown. He won the first Pestilence Punisher tournament, and he's now sitting at 16.6 viewers. So 16.6K.
Oh shit! Wow,
And
that's awesome.
that was 2 years ago. He was a decent, like, 1,000 viewer streamer at that point, but he exploded at that point because the dude's insane. But yeah, so I mean, they're developing all that kind of stuff, and it's got a long way to go. But I think the biggest thing is going to be that they can, once the game actually hits release point, like full release, then they're going to have more options as far as being able to give more organizations private servers for their tournaments. And that's where I think they're missing out some right now, is because we want to see the best of the best go against each other. I don't want to see a duo of two of the best Tarkov players running through a regular public lobby
Right.
and steamrolling people. I want to see them go up against the other best duos. So seeing one of the best players of the game kill like a level 20 Timmy on a map that, was didn't even bring meds, like, that's nothing. Like, I want to see what the top tier guys do to fight the other top tier guys. So that's something that it was done in the last Twitch Rivals tournament. They gave them private servers, and they had it in multiple stages. They went from bingo, and then kind of a find, like, certain things are worth certain points system, and then they had a free for all break before the finals. And each round rotated maps. So it was a different map for each round. So that one actually worked out really well. It was really fun to watch. It was like a 6-hour tournament from start to finish, but definitely a lot of fun.
Wow. Best is yet to come. Maybe. No,
It's always a maybe.
that's. I
There's
mean,
no guarantee in nothing anymore.
no, I know. No, I definitely hear that. All right, let's see. What do we got? We got. Speaking of no guarantees, I'm assuming you guys read the notes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Word.
recently, as you guys read, Twitch came out with their new. I would say new. It was back in what, November, beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December. They came out with a suspicious user detection that you can either likely ban invaders, will not be able to post and chat without the creator mod reviewing the user. This is similar in the way that the auto mod handles banned or restricted words. Creators and mods have the ability to ban the user, monitor the user, or leave the restriction as is. And then they have a possible ban. Invaders will be able to chat normally, but will be flagged for creators and mods to be more easily monitored. And the users monitor the users and ban as needed. So when I read this, I was like, this is interesting. It's interesting because I think it's a great way for channels to protect themselves. So, how do I put it? People, I mean, I'm not in that demographic of the quote unquote hate raid, right? And when the hate raids were going out, they were picking a certain demographic, and they were pretty brutal. I say that, and then funny. I was last night. One of the Team Engine members got hate raided. Vengeful Jedi. He got hate raided, and they actually hate raided the Team Engine server. The interesting thing about this is Twitch goes on to say that they can't guarantee it for 100% accuracy, which I get. So my question is, does something like this hurt your channel in the long run?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think
No.
this hurts or necessarily helps. Can it help? Absolutely. Um, but the fact that you have to go in and flag them, and then the mods can review them if they say something. Like last night, it was an odd situation. I don't know if you noticed my chat, KG, like the viewers in it.
Yeah,
Um, did you see how many bots were in there?
I did.
It's a large quantity. There was about 30. Um, I only have like two bots that show up in that view, like the regular viewer section that I use. So that was a little unnerving. So it's more than I've ever seen. But I mean, really, what it comes down to is in those situations, I think one of the good tools has been the verification,
Agreed.
which can also hurt. Um, making it that they have to have their phone verified unless they're a subscriber, etc. Obviously, that just because they subscribe doesn't mean they can say whatever they want, but at least you put that wall up so randoms can't come in on a hate raid, anything like that, and do that. Um, the other good part is I think since people are verified, if they do something to break the rules, it's much harder for them to not get banned. We had a situation last weekend, or well, 2 weekends ago, playing Tarkov, and I killed a guy through a window with a meme shotgun, basically, and a guy came into the chat and started talking all this shit. So we only assumed, oh, well, this must have been the guy, and running his mouth. He wasn't getting to me, obviously. Like starts trying to attack Rose. Rose laid into him pretty heavy, as you are aware. There's
There's
one
a
of your
clip
clips of the
on
day,
Twitter on there if anybody hasn't seen that. So go check that
and
one
then
out.
he obviously was getting increasingly nasty, realizing he wasn't getting to us, and then he
Yeah.
dropped a racial term in the chat and immediate ban from me.
Yeah. Just
Um,
gone.
and the funnier part of that whole story is he's not actually the guy I killed. The guy I
Just some.
killed came in and was like, "I'm sorry, that's my friend. I apologize for the way he just acted. Like I just came in to say GG's, but I was busy verifying myself, so I couldn't talk." And it was a whole thing, but he got reported for that racial term, and we got a notification that Twitch had taken action about a half an hour later, and the account no longer existed, so it got banned. Um, so that was nice to see.
Mhm.
And I hope that these tools help us get to that point faster, not where it's, they get a slap on the wrist or a warning or anything. Like, just ban them. It's the only way people are going to learn. They can't use the thing anymore. Like, if they think they're going to come back in a few days, they shouldn't be allowed to.
No, I agree, and I just the verification's interesting. I don't have verification on
Doesn't
personally,
either.
um, but I definitely like the verification for people because it does give
Well,
them.
it definitely, the big thing you'll notice is I don't get any "Do you want to be famous" bots in my chat
No,
anymore.
you don't. Yeah.
So that's an immediate effect. Does it potentially hurt me a little bit? Maybe. But if somebody's not willing to verify through their phone number, which is a common practice on websites these days, if somebody's not willing to do that, like, I probably don't want that type of person chatting in my chat anyway.
Yeah.
True. I agree.
Well, it's also not just them. The owner of the stream and mods flagging them. Isn't it supposed to also auto detect someone based on like the account was created 3 seconds ago and it's level and it's like level one? I
Suppo
say.
Supposedly, I haven't seen anything like that. We'll have to pay attention, like, obviously, you're a mod in your dad's chat, like,
Yeah, that's I think what this
and,
new
like,
thing is
I
supposed
think
to
we
be.
all mod different people, like, KG is one of my mods
Hmm.
and etc. So I think it's something we have to check out. Like, it's still so new. I don't know if they've rolled out all those features yet or what that looks like. Because I personally haven't seen
Yeah.
any of that sketchiness. Like last night, I flagged a bunch of people, and I was told that like by Rom and Rose that they could see them. KG, I don't know if you could too. If there was anything special about their names or anything, those bots when you looked at them.
I'll have to go back. No, I didn't really. I just noticed there was a lot. I didn't really. I should have flipped through
Yeah,
them.
I flagged like 10 of them just
Mm.
to start getting in the habit of using that. So, but I think it's how is it going to evolve in real time for us, and then also, I mean, is it going to stay? Is it going to lead to bans? Is it going to lead to stalling out some of the bots? Um, yeah,
Watch this
there's
clip
always going
now.
to be new bots. There's always going to be bots that can get by everything. That's one of the things, it's just like security breaching in the IT world. There's always a new vulnerability. Nothing is ever completely invulnerable.
No, it isn't. You're 100% correct in that. And my
Can you spell my name right,
did I spell it wrong?
please?
Holy shit, Rose. Oh
Oh
my
my!
god.
Two letters wrong.
Did I really?
Yeah, it's crowded dead, not crowd dead.
Oh, I forgot the. All right, listen. Nightbot
You're
was
gonna advertise me. Do
Nightbot.
it right.
Nightbot was drinking. I can't tell you. I'm gonna fix it right now.
Yeah, Rose. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure that was a teenager at best, and Rose ripped that guy a new asshole. It was
oh,
great.
it was amazing. The clip of the day was amazing.
Oh, I just listened to that clip right now. That was fucking hilarious.
I played that at work, and there was a woman. She said, "I love her. She is my." How'd she say? She is awesome. Look up here, stupid.
That is that is so good. Yeah, that guy has never heard anyone come at him like that.
Nope.
That guy, no.
Yeah, it's always fun when people try to keyboard warrior,
Oh yeah.
uh, and little it doesn't phase me. Let alone if Rose is there. Rose always gives them a nice piece of her mind, and it's always ends pretty wonderfully. Um, But yeah, I mean the bots and everything like that, like it's debatable and it's going to be an endless thing we always deal with. There's always going to be a new thing like that to deal with. Whether it's like the famous spammers, the follow bots, the hate spammers, like there's always something and it's only going to evolve and change because content creation isn't something that is going to go away anytime soon.
Mm-mm. Nope,
So
not at all. Not at all. It's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get bigger. And I think that as tools and softwares get released to make it easier and easier and easier, it's going to grow. It's just the people that stick it out are the ones that are going to have some type of success, whatever their success is, right? Because everybody, what's your definition of success? That's what I always say. If you define success a certain thing and you hit that, then that's your success. If your success is 16,000 viewers, it's going to take a little while to get there. But if your success is to
Make someone
laugh, and they do, then
He's got
that's it.
so-
I mean, that's
that clip is so funny. Holy shit! I just listened to it again.
Oh, it's amazing. The clip was amazing.
the kill was
Well,
funny too because the guy
what-
was hiding in a closed room and or the actual kill rather, not just the clip of the insult. And I was blind shooting through a wood covered window with a shotgun. And the dude just stayed in the room, and in the end, he did try to run away, but he was way too low, and I killed him. And yeah, he is.
Well,
And
the reason I found that clip so much funnier is because yesterday my buddy who literally said he was watching a video of someone playing a shooter, and it was a girl, and she did the exact same thing to some kid. So for a second, I'm like, wait, did that clip just show up in a fucking compilation? He didn't know that we know the person who said it. So I just shot him a message, and he said he doesn't think it was the same clip, but holy, the exact same response that Rose gave to that guy, like word for word. Oh, beautiful.
It's crazy. Well, I guess it remains to be seen how these tools work, and hopefully Twitch keeps building on
I
it.
have no idea. I just assumed he was talking about Call of Duty or something, but yeah, I have no idea. It was like the exact same fucking response. So that's why I just sent a message saying, "Holy shit! Wait a minute. Do you know what game that was on?"
Give all the daddy's kids they love.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ is the correct answer.
um,
I can't think of another response.
yeah, so hopefully Twitch keeps building on it, and and just keeps doing better. So here we go. Sloths here, everybody. Something else that I came up was Sony launching their own version of a quote unquote Game Pass. Thoughts? And I brought this up because actually Ron posted this question in the lair.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, if I get some PlayStation exclusives on PC, I'm all for it. Like, I don't see the need for them not to do it. It's a niche they've always stayed away from. And I
Right.
think they could
Yeah.
profit pretty well at the very least from bringing some stuff there like that.
The question I have is, do you think that they'll be able to get on PC?
Well, that's what I think they're gonna lead up to. At first,
Yeah.
I don't think so. And like Rose just mentioned in the chat, the Play Now or
Yes.
whatever it was called, the
PlayStation
cloud
Play.
gaming.
Yeah.
They came out with that way. It was called Play Now when it first came out, but it was way too laggy initially. I think they've shored that up a little bit, and it's a functional thing now. But it like the structure now is the Game Pass, give people full games.
Yeah, like let's let them download as long as they pay the subscription, they get to keep it. Well, because don't they? PlayStation Plus, didn't they already do like a free game every month or something?
They
PlayStation,
do, and
yeah,
Xbox has always done that as well.
Yeah.
With Gold, so they've always been neck and neck with that. But obviously, Xbox over the last year, I mean, they're locking up all these exclusive deals,
Oh,
and they're saying,
and
you
Game
know,
Pass is
we're
crazy.
some games are free on console only, other games are free on PC only through the Game Pass, some are on free on both. Like big games too, like Back for Blood, big game.
Mhm.
And it was free on Game Pass. Halo, free game on Game Pass. It's Yeah, and that's kind of the current concept of renting because you pay for a month. If you decide either you don't have the money or you're not enjoying the games they have on there at the time, you cancel that subscription.
Mhm.
It's kind of our current version of renting a game. Like you get to play it as much as you want for the month, and if you don't like it anymore, don't want it, there you go.
Yeah, and
And
the other
that's
cool thing with
probably
Game
what I'm doing
Pass.
with EA Pro this month
Mm.
because Battlefield is kind of garbage.
Oh,
But we'll
2042.
see.
That's another.
It's a whole
I'm
nother.
so glad I
That's
didn't
a
buy. I'm
whole nother
so glad I didn't
podcast.
buy the game. But the thing about Game Pass too is you get Xbox Gold for it, right? So like I still pay for Game Pass, and I get all the gold benefit memberships from it too. Like if you had like normal Xbox Live, which is really cool. Like it lets you have the
Yeah.
full online thing too. The Game
Yeah, if I
Pass is
still played
honestly really
console,
good.
that would be nice for me, but I mean, I
Yeah,
still pay for the
I
Ultimate to have the PC side, but
yeah,
it's worth
that's
it.
what I do.
They added all the Bethesda games like Doom, you get uh Dishonored 1 and 2, Elder Scrolls
Mhm.
obviously, all their games like are games worth playing. So you get all those now, all their new games, like
Their
there's
20th
just a
release of
lot.
Skyrim.
I think the only game Bethesda has not put on Game Pass. Yeah, Dishonored is great. Um, what's the name of that time game that just came out?
I have no idea.
Loop, uh, gosh, where the guy's stuck in a time loop.
Uh,
Chat,
Deathloop?
help me out here. Time loop,
Was it
Death Loop.
Deathloop? Because I can't play that. I think it's a PlayStation
Time Loop,
exclusive, right?
Death
I
Loop,
haven't loaded it
Looper.
up.
Where did Looper come in this law?
Yeah, it's not on Game Pass yet, but it is a Bethesda game. And then the fact that they just added EA and made a deal with EA,
Mm.
even though EA has their own pass, they're giving you basically their $5 pass included with Game Pass.
I
So
actually
not
know
their
they made
pro
a deal with
one,
you.
but like I feel like if PlayStation doesn't hop in, they're gonna get passed up because this is
Oh yeah.
kind of the new way to do things.
Right, but my question is like it's. I think they should do it, and I'm all for it. Do you think they can get on PC? Do you think like Rom says when I questioned this when I asked this question, Rom said they'd have a monopoly. Well, does PC does Microsoft allow them to? Like I
They
don't know.
can't not
I
allow
don't know
it.
if they cannot allow, right?
Microsoft like Windows is separate from Xbox. That's why Xbox is called Xbox.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just saying it's still
That came
Microsoft.
yeah, but that's still it came with their antitrust lawsuit. They had to separate the company, and that's one of the reasons why.
Don't
Like
think it would be through
plus,
the Windows Store, but they could have their
oh
own
no, yeah,
application for it.
exactly, and that's how it would go. It would be
Yeah.
just like Origin or
Hmm.
Battle.net, separate application. They can't really stop it.
It would probably just be like a
But why would they
Steam type
want
with a
to?
subscription.
Why would they want to?
I,
Because that breeds more competition, and they're already way ahead of the game.
Oh yeah.
They have already figured out how to do it, what to do. They just need to fix their garbage application. And
Oh, it's bad. The application
yeah,
is
it's
bad.
real bad. I hate it. But they're ahead of the game. I don't see why they wouldn't want PlayStation to step up because then if PlayStation trips over themselves like they sometimes do when they get into a new area, it makes them look even better until
right.
PlayStation stands back up and starts to pull their weight.
I'll be happy because there's a lot of PS exclusives I
I mean,
really
I'm all
like,
for
but
it. I
I
just
can't play because I don't have a PS5 right now.
Well, the way I look at it, everybody should be for it because it
Oh yeah.
only benefits the gamers,
Oh yeah.
I'm all for it.
which is
I
what we
mean,
should care about. We
I'd
don't
much
care about
rather
their
them do it.
profits, nothing like that. we want to play the games.
Yeah, I know. I'm all for it. I don't know. I just grew up in a world of gaming where no one
There
ever.
it was
No,
Pong and hopscotch and jacks.
I did not play hopscotch. Okay, but Jax
I
is a
think,
hell of a game.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, when I grew
Stickball
up,
out in the street until dinner time with the neighborhood
We
kids.
played kick the stick. Okay, play kick the stick.
I remember the fucking how much PlayStation and Xbox hated each other.
Well, yeah, because
It was a total just if you played PlayStation, I was just not allowed to like you.
it's just that they would never like crossplay became a thing because of Fortnite, right? It just they just
I don't think that was. I don't think that was a Fortnite thing.
what do you think it was?
I just don't think it was just because of Fortnite.
Fortnite was a big reason though when
Yeah,
they just quote unquote accidentally flipped that switch and all of a sudden Xbox was playing with PlayStation.
right.
And I was like, wait, you can do that like that easily on your own servers? Why haven't you? Why hasn't that been mainstream yet? Now, here we are, where mouse and keyboard players complain about aim assist when they have to play with console players.
Yeah, I mean, it. That's my biggest thing with it. And always has been. Like, does it allow certain friends to play together? Slash carry, a couple of old guys that can't buy PCs. Yeah. Um,
Can't buy or
but
refuse
it
to.
doesn't have. It doesn't have like that draw for me. Like, yeah, maybe I'd get a game faster, but like fighting somebody with a controller with aim assist, like the argument is always PC will be more accurate, which is true. I can be more accurate, but I don't have that snap to target. Like that's
Also,
the
it's also a game to game basis. Like it depends on the game. Like Halo
oh
Infinite,
yeah.
aim assist is really strong. Apex Legends, not so much. It just kind of depends on the game to game basis. I love it because you can play with everyone. So I'd much prefer it on, but that's just the new thing we get to. On, but give people the way to opt out is the best way to do it. Unfortunately, not every game gives that opt out checkbox.
Opt out of what? Aim assist?
Crossplay,
Oh,
not aim
crossplay.
assist. Because
Yeah,
that's the
well,
thing is
that's the
like,
thing too. Yeah, that I can tell you as a console player when we play with PC players, it can get very very frustrating because I'm bad enough. I don't need to be lit up by somebody who can use a mouse and a keyboard and can do all types of crazy strafing. And when you're looting, you can move your guy back and forth and
well, I mean that's Apex specific.
but right, but it's just it gets very frustrating. But I do enjoy the fact that I mean, here's a prime example. One of the reasons why I have a PlayStation was because we couldn't play with a bunch of people, right? And then all of a sudden crossplay came out, and who cares if I've got a PlayStation or Xbox? I could have, kept my Xbox, right?
All the major shooters now have crossplay.
You know,
At least the ones that are on all the platforms.
so I'll be on PC someday. If I keep saying it,
By the time you get a PC, everybody's gonna be playing like only augmented reality games.
yeah, but at least I'll have a PC.
Yeah, but that'll just be for browsing the Googlies.
You'll still need a PC to run the augmented reality game for the near future.
Where are we at?
It'll have an NVIDIA GTX 5080.
Well, speaking of free games and all that, Epic Store is giving away 15 free games. You guys read that at all?
Pretty good titles. They generally give at least one game a month for free.
Yeah.
Usually two. So I mean, it's been a pretty consistent source of free games to get, similar to like the Prime games. Not all of them are great, but they do have some good ones in there. Like Godfall is free right now. That actually looks like a really good third person like hack and slash kind of game. Um, and I think Prison Simulator, not Prison Simulator, but like what's it called? Prison Builder or whatever. Is that what it's called? I don't know, but it's not bad either. Those kind of games are fun, kind of like Factorio. And then yeah, I mean, free games, who's gonna complain? Like,
No.
I go and grab them even if I don't plan on ever playing them, because it's like, maybe I will one day.
Yeah, right.
Maybe I'll
Exactly.
do another subathon like I did, and then instead of choosing that shitty game Fortnite, when I hit a certain amount of subs, I'll just say, "You get to pick a random free game I've never played,
Yeah. I think the
and
game you
play it."
called is Prison
So,
Architect, right?
yes, that's the one. Builder.
I can
I was
say that.
close.
I can say that because I'm looking at it. Godfell Challenger Edition, and is that what's that? Shenmue?
Shenmue is free?
Shenmue 3. Yeah.
Oh, man. It's a game changer.
According to D Labs, the first giveaway this year will be Shenmue 3. I don't know the game,
That's,
which will be released on
man,
December 16th with a new.
Shenmue came out on Dreamcast originally and was supposed to be the next generation of video game entertainment. It
Wow.
was presented to be an epic tale. Um, 2 came out like years later, and then 3, yeah, they didn't upgrade the engine from like original Xbox, like PlayStation 2 time frame. Um, the Dreamcast one back in the day was actually good, I thought, and it was a good like kind of like think of first movie, like the second it gets built up and they get you sold on it, and then it ends and it's like Shenmue 2 coming soon. And I think, the Dreamcast came out in 9999. I think Shenmue was out in 2000. So
I may have had a
yeah,
Dreamcast.
it took a while. I got it the day it came out.
Yeah. They're,
Um, that's how I remember. I always remember it was 9999.
wow. Yeah, I had the Dreamcast. You remember the old, what was it, 3DO system?
Yep.
We had one of those.
Yeah, Rose still has hers.
I think Be Nice broke in with
The
Xbox.
earliest I had an N64.
You had an N64. You did have an N64.
That's the earliest system I remember is an N64 with that stupid controller that made no sense.
I had the N64. I had the gold cartridge, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Now, if you want to talk about like actually playing games and not just pushing buttons, I want to say it was probably Xbox Halo Combat Evolved, like
Mm-hmm.
the first one.
Yeah, that was it.
Dreamcast,
But
original
but I had an
PlayStation.
N64 and I had a
Mike Tyson's
PS1.
Punch
Yeah,
Out.
PS1,
Mike Tyson's
PS2.
Punch Out on NES, and I actually could play Duck Hunt when I was younger, and Mario. Like they were simple enough to where, at 4, 5, 6, you could play the games.
Yeah.
Um,
That kind of was
but yeah,
amazing.
I mean, free games. I'm never gonna turn down free games, even if they're garbage, just because like I may need to laugh at some point. So, you know, it's always nice when you get that, especially since that's not something Steam has ever done. The fact that
Mm.
some of the other platforms are doing that with their games, or free
Yeah.
weekends, is something Steam even now does as well for big name games. Something that Ubi and Epic have both done already as well. So seeing those kind of things, I feel like there's a lot more benefit to the gamer these days.
Yeah, Steam's just
Um,
famous for their sales, not giving away games.
However, I will say Steam is fantastic for their return policy.
It's
There has been a handful of games I've played in the last
yeah,
couple of years that I've been like, no.
I say it's what, a couple hours or 14 or like 2 weeks or 14 days, but you can always like give a little context if you want a little over the hours just to like see what happens. Was that it?
Yeah, say
Yeah.
yeah. I've gotten it by just saying you spent hours trying to optimize the game to make it playable with graphic settings, but never could get it to not stutter.
Sometimes that is
Like,
true.
yeah, it is 100% is true. Um, but yeah, I think the free games are great, and
Because gaming return policies in general are not very good when it comes to these online ones. Yeah, Steam's is
there's
definitely
really
good.
not a return policy with anybody else.
No.
They're pretty much the only ones.
Well, I think we'll close out with the Game Awards. I know that a lot of us watched it. A lot of you watched it. I did not.
I didn't watch it.
Um,
I had
I
friends who
didn't either.
did.
I was flipping through the list. I'm sure you guys went through the list.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting game that I saw, the game of the year, was very interesting to me. The game of the year was It Takes Two.
It was
And
definitely a very fun concept of a game for the gameplay and how each level was completely different and added new gameplay mechanics.
played it.
Like it was a great game. Um, the story was actually more like sad than you would think, but definitely a fun game to play. Me and Rose played through about half of it. Yeah, yeah, it was good.
but
But
game of the year?
as far as well, I mean, it was something interesting that like, what would you rather have? Call of Duty be game of the year?
No, absolutely not.
Exactly. So like Forza again, sequel. Like this was an original IP
Okay.
and from a developer who usually doesn't have very good original IPs anymore.
Okay.
Um, I I thought I I didn't have any problem with that. Now,
Uh,
granted, I don't really care about who gets the awards for the games. I watch the Game Awards like 90% of the other people that watch it for the trailers.
Yep.
Yeah, I just watched the shows afterward.
And
I
But I was
I'm
just
one of those, like,
interested
I
to
hate Hollywood.
see like It Takes Two as the game of the year, which I'm sure people are still playing it, but it didn't seem like it had a very long life.
well, I mean, it wasn't a like co-op. It was a co-op story game.
Right.
Like the replayability on that isn't gonna be too huge because even if one person wants to play through it again, maybe their partner does not.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and a lot of story-driven games these days, they try to build to replayability, but personally, I don't usually go back. But it's Jesus. Um,
I'm reading. I didn't. Would I miss something?
yeah. Chat,
Okay.
chat being chat, like always. Those but I mean, there is a game that I am super, super, super excited for after seeing like more of it, and that is uh shit. What is the name of this game? Rose, help me out here. I know you know it. We talked about it briefly the other night. I thought it was going to be console only, and I'm super excited that it's going to be PC right away too. Um, not coming out until like May of next year. Forspoken.
Okay. Never heard of it.
I don't think I've been impressed by what I've seen of the gameplay and everything of a single player game like that in a long time.
Oh, that's Square game. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks awesome.
I had to look it up for myself. That's me, but for Elden Ring, give me it.
Yeah, Elden Ring is like good. Like, but see, like this being like, I feel like it's a foray into next gen, like open world game with a thick story. Like, I don't think we've gotten a lot of full next gen games yet. Like a lot of people are talking about this Matrix Awakens like VR experience or whatever it is that just came out. And a lot of people, well, I guess it's not VR, it's also just on PlayStation 5 and Series X, but they're saying it's the most next gen experience they've had so far. A game that is literally just a tie-in to get people to go see a movie.
Yeah. Well,
So, and not a full game, it's not like a big thing or anything like that. Um, yeah, Hellblade 2 is going to be awesome. Um, there's going to be a lot of good games coming out in the next year.
there is. From what I've seen, I don't like. Obviously, I don't play a lot of them, right? But I am very interested in seeing how some of these games actually do, because I play shooters mainly, right? But I do enjoy watching.
Well,
What? No, I didn't say I played well. I said I play them. but I do enjoy watching certain people play different types of games. Like I do like survival games. Like I watch a streamer who plays Rust, which that game does not appeal to a lot of people, but those type of games I find interesting to watch, but not play. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I tend to get burnt out on survival games pretty quickly. So like for me, like the only one that I think I've played and like gone back to multiple times is probably and this is because they just keep making the game a more complete game is No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a big one, anyways, right? That's a huge one.
Well, yeah, and it started out not being remotely what it is now.
Right.
So to see it actually evolve finally to what the developer originally wanted to make it, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah. It's pretty. That's the game's huge. All right. Flipping through a few more of these. So we game of the year, best game direction, Deathloop. We talked about best ongoing game, Final Fantasy Online. Interesting,
Final Fantasy 14 online.
but it's kind of odd because the best ongoing game were Apex Legends, Call of Duty, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact. Why in the world Genshin? Okay, sorry.
Just it's not hard to read. Just
Why in the world would games like Call of Duty, Apex, and Fortnite be in this?
because they're live service games, and if you notice, it's specific to all the battle royales, and the idea is to keep those going for as long as possible.
Okay.
They don't.
And
They
it
don't.
offers season passes
They
and
don't have a defined life
microtransactions
cycle
and
like a Halo 3 back in the day.
Right.
This is just meant they're
they
live
bring
service
you in
games.
for free, and then they get you to spend more than you would pay for the
Oh,
game over the
100%.
course of 2 or 3 years.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's why. I mean, in Genshin is the same idea, but it's a mobile gotcha game.
Yeah.
But those games tend to go on forever because that's just how they work. And then
Well, and like you can play them appropriately. Like
Mhm.
I know Rose plays Genshin, and she
I
hasn't
do
spent
too.
any money on it. Like, and she might have spent a small amount. Don't quote me on her not spending any money on it, but she grinds the game out and like levels up all her characters and plays through it. So it's like sometimes you can do that with those games, and they're actually rewarding, and you don't have to buy
Systems.
things.
Hmm?
And those are probably the ones that I actually approve of. Ones that give you the choice to buy stuff, but you don't have to be successful at the game.
Ron, that is exactly it about Final Fantasy. Its
Okay,
1.0 version was awful. It died. The developers actually made the closing of the servers an in-game lore thing, and then it was redone with A Realm Reborn like over a decade ago, and it's just been going ever since.
Yep,
And
yep. I remember when it came and went before, and that's one thing that isn't does SOE have anything to do with it?
Was what?
Did SOE Sony Online Entertainment have anything to do with the original?
I don't know.
So I was gonna
I have
say like they had a similar situation with the Star Wars Galaxies MMO.
yeah. No,
Um,
I have no idea.
and
I
that
think
was
it
a
was
great
all
game,
Square.
and then they messed it up, and then it died.
Yeah, it's all Square Enix. The business they gave it over to the guy who runs it, Yoshi P is like what everyone calls him, Yoshida. It's his life's work. He's been working on it basically since A Realm Reborn started, and they've only made the game better and better. I've played it over the course of its life cycle, maybe like 3 to 4 years total, because I've played it very fractured, except for the last 2 3 years when I've actually played it like a full expansion, caught back up. It's one of my favorite games of all time because I can just log in and do whatever just because of that.
Yeah,
And I'm
no,
a
I hear
big like
tons of great
music,
things.
art, like I love it. The music is top tier. The stories are great. I don't think there's any it's an MMO, right? But it's a Final Fantasy game. I don't think there's any game that I've played narratively that has given me the amount of and I kind of tell my old man's gonna call me a bitch for this. The amount of like emotional responses to the narrative than
No,
this
if he
game
calls you a
has.
bitch for that, he's a bitch.
I wouldn't call him a
Having an
bitch for
emotional
that.
response is a normal human
I
being
wouldn't call
thing.
him a bitch for that.
Because the story is really good, right? And they just the newest expansion culminates the story of the last like 10 years of the game before they go on to new stuff. So they really packed it with a lot of like heart wrenching scenes and other stuff, and it's most people's favorite Final Fantasy game that I've ever talked to.
I'm sure you were really attached to that chocobo. Okay.
Adventure's got to eat. Fuck that bird.
Give him a tissue. Let's see. I mean, we just kind of flipped through these. Final Fantasy, Best Narrative, Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy. Now, I don't play Guardians of the Galaxy, but that was the best narrative? Question mark?
Yeah. A lot of people really liked it because I watched the whole review on it from Skill Up. Remember the guy who's starting the division?
Yeah.
He, well, Marvel's Avengers was dog shit. So that game was dead on arrival. But this game, I think the reason it had the best narrative is a lot of people like this because it took a lot of what the movies. Now I've never seen the movies. I don't know the characters. I'm not a Marvel person. It took a lot of that and actually put it in a good video game form and told a compelling story and showed that there is a place for the Marvel universe in video games, provided they do it correctly.
Okay.
And I heard the story was pretty good because I think it was about the founding of the Guardians and them becoming more of an actual team, learning to work together, something like that. And stories like that usually go well with people.
Okay. Just that one took me by surprise. Best VR, best action, Returnal. I'm kind of surprised at that.
Oh, that's that. Isn't that roguelite on PlayStation?
I don't think it's necessarily. It's yes and no. It's on the roguelite part. I think that it did have some
I know it's very good.
procedurally generated areas.
Mm.
But it's a game where like you die, you get returned
Yeah.
back to a large portion of where you were prior. So death played a big part in that, kind of Dark Souls esque, but the gun it was kind of like a fast paced, like almost arcade style like shooter, like old third person shooter that you would have played back in the day. Um, with those kind of penalties and a lot
Gotcha.
of
Yeah, I've
interesting
never seen the
sci-fi
Guardians.
weapons.
Yeah, the game looked really cool, but it was the PlayStation exclusive, so I haven't played it.
Exactly. It's on the list.
Best action. Oh, that was Returnal. I kind of like watching Back for Blood. I just ain't gonna lie. I thought Far Cry was. I
Yeah,
thought Far
but
Cry 6 was pretty good too. But
I'm glad it was a new IP. I like to see new IPs come into the gaming industry and actually be good and get rewarded for it. It encourages more companies to continue to make new IPs
yeah,
and not just make 8,000 sequels. Like I want something new. I don't want to play the same things
right.
over and over again.
Best RPG.
Says the person who plays the same game, gets reset to 0 and plays it
Again.
I have played 3 of those RPGs.
Yes. So best RPG. Not surprised. Tales of Arise.
Fucking game is so good.
Yeah,
Another great
definitely.
series.
Let's see. Best Family, It Takes Two. Best Sports Racing, surprise, Forza. Best Sim Strategy, Age of Empires.
I played the new one. I did not really enjoy it.
Interesting, though.
I don't know. I didn't play a lot of simulation strategy this year. I know next year, if Total War Warhammer 3 does not win, I will be very surprised.
Interesting, though. Age of Empires. But best multiplayer, It Takes Two. Most anticipated game,
Elden Ring. Oh, I can't wait.
I thought that would be God of War.
Elden Ring.
Not at all. God of War is always going to have its loyals, but it's not. The hype behind Elden Ring is much greater because it's been talked about for years.
Mm-hmm.
Best community, Final Fantasy. Beat out No Man's Sky.
The Final Fantasy community is awesome.
Let's see.
It's insane.
Don't say like best community, League of Legends. Everybody would know it's bullshit.
Yeah. Best esports game is League of Legends. Surprise, surprise.
I won't disagree with that necessarily.
League as a game is great. League as a community,
toxic garbage.
Awful.
Oh, they're awful. Yeah, they're awful. They are awful. I will say that. They are slightly toxic. Slightly,
yeah.
All right, I think that's everything, guys. Normally, we rate out to a TM gamer that is streaming. But I think tonight I read a tweet that someone's going Tarkov After Dark. Is that true?
Who?
You.
Yeah, I'm going live right when we're done.
All right. So
I'm racing to 50. I gotta play.
So I think what we need to do, everybody, is don't tell Crowddead, but I think we're gonna raid Crowddead. So if you have not seen Tarkov Wolf Gaming, this would be a great opportunity to check out.
I believe that was the hint to get the F out of here and go live.
No, that was not the hint. We still have to sign off.
I know.
I need to turn on my cam before I can turn on OBS. So.
No, I get it. But that's gonna wrap it up. Like I said, everybody, we are not gonna be back till the first of the year. So everybody have a great holiday. Have a great New Year's. Stay safe and stay healthy. Crowddead, where do we find you? If spelled correctly.
Crowddead on Twitch and everywhere else, except for Twitter. I'm Crowddead there, and Toxic King the. But yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully I'll pop up on a future show here.
Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna probably go back now that we've got a few episodes under our belt and we're starting to get a little more format. We're gonna obviously keep bringing new people on, but we want to bring back some, former guests. Like we've had, I think Rom was the first. I think actually Gilligan was our first. Rom, so forth and so on. So. That would be so. I just got bounced into Crowddead. This is what it's like to be crowded, everybody.
Because the way the cameras worked out.
Yeah. That's amazing that I moved right into that slot.
Hey,
that works out well.
And perfectly too. The camera is fitting.
Yeah, it's like perfect.
My face is still there, except it's like it's smaller and like further back, like the much younger version of you.
Yes, exactly.
Now there's too much versions of you on the screen.
Boy, Crowddead got ugly. Fuck off. Crowddead got better look. KGM got better looking. That's for sure.
Jesus Christ.
So. So that's it, everybody. We're done. We're gonna call it a year. We're gonna call it 2021 here. Next year, hopefully, just keep picking up traction and appreciate you guys hanging out and trolling Be Nice Gaming as you do. This chat is toxic coming from Lucas of all people.
Lucas, you just got a 15-day chat ban. You have no room to talk.
Who got a 15-day chat ban? Where?
Lucas, he just said he got a 15-day chat ban. I'm assuming on League.
Oh, really?
He just said it.
I was half paying attention to it.
I know.
One of the best ones yet. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate it. God, I hope the old guys live through 2022. I hope I live through the New Year's at this point. Be nice. You're my older brother.
I know. Lucas, I never said I wasn't toxic. I just said that you got one, so you don't have a space to talk right now. Isn't it the job of the older brother to sometimes put the little brother like in line, right? I wouldn't know. I don't actually have any blood siblings. That's all right that you stopped at one.
First episode of 2022 should be Sloth. Who agrees? Sloth has to start streaming first.
Nay.
Who knows? We might have us a big surprise for 2022 yet. We'll see. So, all right, everybody. Appreciate you all. We're going to get out of here. We're going to raid Crowddead. Check out Tarkov. If you have not seen Tarkov, check it out. It's really a fun game to watch. It really is. Crowddead plays it well. He knows the game, and it's crazy. New Year's Eve night boobies again. Oh, jeez.
No.
We could definitely do something potentially, but not that.
Not that.
So, thank you all. You guys are all amazing. Stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, and we'll see you soon.
All right, boys. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to y'all soon, as always.
All right, cool.